at our acceleration. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend. Yes, it does have a box at the top, pretty cool. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Ed Kenley Ford for giving me some time with this Bronco Sport Big Bend. Check out their inventory on the link below. Let's get straight into the video. So under the hood of this Big Bend, we have a naturally aspirated 1.5 liter 3-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 25 around town and then 28 in the highway, with power outputs being 181 horsepower and then 190 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the front end of the Bronco Big Bend. So this particular one is finished in iconic silver, which looks absolutely fantastic, especially in this lighting. You can see just how beautiful it is. But we've got these full LED lights here at the front with the LED accent light, and then you've got the Bronco logo there on the front. Fog lights just down below, and then you can see the air dam in that little portion. But yeah, it really is the baby Bronco, because it looks like the bigger Bronco, but obviously it's the miniaturized version. But yeah, really good looking front end. Coming around the side here, you've got two 25mm tires wrapped around 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. As for the design on the wheels, they kind of have this cool off-roader type look on the wheels themselves. And then if we pop over to the tires, you guys can kind of see the tread pattern on there and a little part of the suspension. And then we've got a little Big Bend logo right there with the piece of venting. And then notice that the mirrors are blacked out as well as the door handles. And other than that, here is your full side view on the Bronco Big Bend, which it kind of looks like a mix between the big Bronco and the new Land Rover Defender. Now let's pop into the back of the Bronco Big Bend. So first off, you guys can see we do have the floor mats here, and they say Bronco Sport in them, which is pretty neat. I love the tack pattern here on the bottom portion. And then lifting this up, you can see they've got the spare tire just underneath that little area. And then we do get a 12 volt just up above, and then notice the tack pattern continues on the seat. So if you fold down the seats, then you still obviously get the protection, but then it also looks cool on top of that. But that's everything for this portion. We actually have to shut the Bronco Sport for the next thing. So you can see you've got this little button right here, press that, and then you pull that up for the glass. You can get entry through the rear glass, which is another nice little feature here with the Sport. But other than that, that is that part of the back. Now as for the rest of the back of the Big Bends, first off, you guys can see you've got these beautiful LED lights, and they really pop out again in the lighting right now. And then you got your Bronco logo there on the back, an LED light for the license plate. And then yes, we do have giant ski box there at the top, which I think is pretty cool. Like, look at that. That's just a cool look with that on it. Here's the door panel in the back of the Big Bend. So again, we've got the nice soft touch right here, and then you can see the little door handle with the window control. And then we've got the seat here on the rear. So you got the darker gray cloth seat with kind of like a lighter gray, and then an even lighter gray here. So lots of gray happening. But let's actually pop in and get out of the hail. Yes, you heard it right. It is hailing right now. So I'm 5'11", tons of headroom. Even if I sit up straight, legroom is okay. And then you got a little bag right here for extra storage. And then it's actually soft touch here in the center portion, which I think is pretty neat. So you've got like 4 different types of like textures and material. You've got like the soft touch right here, and then you got like all the different cloth happening here. And so I don't know, it just makes for an interesting back area. And the last thing is we do have some vents right here, and then you've got a little USB down there in that area. But let's head to the front. Well, you guys can probably see a little bit of the hail there on the camera, but here's the door panel at the front. You got the nice rubber trim here with the soft touch down below. All of your window controls, your mirror adjustments, and then the door lock and unlock. And then here are the seats at the front. So again, you got that darker, kind of like blackish gray. Then you got the kind of like lighterish gray, and then the even lighter gray, and then the soft touch there on the back portion of the seat. The seats are manually adjustable. There's the pedal layout down below, and then you guys saw the hood latch release. It's a double pull. And then over here we've got a little light control right there. The steering wheel is manually adjustable, and there's one more look before we pop in. Here's the steering wheel in the Bronco Big Bend. Not necessarily the nicest materials because it's kind of like the base model, but it's cool seeing the Bronco horse right there. Here your controls there for the center stack, your phone controls, you've got your voice command control. Little stalk there for the windshield wipers, your turn signal stalks on the other side. And you got your volume controls over there on that side, and then the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. But that's all for the steering wheel. Now here in the center, we've got the gauges. I love the look of the gauges. So the camera kind of makes the blue look a little bit less like a lighter blue. In person, it's definitely kind of like a darker blue than what you're seeing on camera. So sorry that the camera can't see the colors that our eyes can see. But anyways, going through that screen, it's pretty cool. Just gives you different bits of information on the baby Bronco. But we've got the GOAT modes, which is the go over any terrain. I think that's pretty cool that you've got a little acronym for the drive mode select. So you've got the sand, you've got the normal, you got the eco, the sport, and then the slippery. So yeah, a bunch of different drive modes. I love the fact that the normal mode has the Bronco horse. Let's go over the infotainment system. First off, if we pop into reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And then you can zoom in onto the receiver hitch, which is pretty good. Resolution is really solid on the camera. As for the rest of the infotainment system, again, this is kind of like a base model, but you still get a really responsive touch screen, and I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's responsive, it looks good, and that's all. And just down below, we've got our volume controls, and then you've got a little auto stop start button in that area too, just the A with the circle, and then your engine stop start button, and then some storage here, which there's actually more of those tacks in that little area, which is pretty neat. Climate controls down here. It's just a single zone climate in this baby Bronco, and then more tacks down there. Like, they've got tacks everywhere with the design. USBs and a 12 volt, and then got a couple cup holders here. This is the transmission selector, so yes, the dial shifter is in like every single Ford now. And then you got a low range as well, and then you've got your parking brake, your auto hold, and then again you've got the GOAT modes. So again, the go over any terrain, and that's all for that. Got the center console here, which has the leather at the top and storage space in there. It's pretty good. You've got a 12 volt and then little cable thread throughs. And then coming over here, we can see that we've got a decent amount of storage space in the glove box. And then you got pretty interesting, like, you got like the material here, and then over here it's a little bit different texture wise. Up top here, we do have a little sunglass holder, and then you've got the mirror, which has the dimmer already built in, and lighter colored headliner. There's not much else happening up top. Well, now that we're done going the interior on this particular Bronco Big Bend with the box on the top, let's quickly get into the pricing. So, in terms of pricing, this particular Bronco Big Bend stickers for a little bit over $30,000 before any type of market adjustment. That being said, let's take this Bronco Sport out and see how it drives. Let's quickly talk about visibility before we set off here in this Bronco Sport Big Bend. So first off, visibility over the hood. It's, you know, a little bit of a longer hood, and because it's squared off though, you can really tell where like all of the edges end. And then you got visibility through both the mirrors. Remember, they do have blind spot monitoring. And then here's the visibility throughout the rest of the rear, which is a bunch of really large windows, and it's a boxy vehicle, so visibility is solid. And that all being said, let's set off. Well, we are setting off in this Bronco Sport Big Bend, and the biggest reason that I'm doing this video, other than the fact that it has the box on the top, is we're gonna be able to get this onto the highway so I can see how this 3-cylinder performs on the highway, because last time I reviewed this, I didn't take it on the highway, and so this will be definitely a lot of fun. Now I am gonna pop it over into the sport mode for acceleration onto the highway. Shift it down a gear now that I'm in the sport mode. But let's talk about like all the normal stuff. So, other than the fact that we've got a jet flying above us that's extremely loud, wind noise is very minimal, tire noise pretty much non-existent. You do hear some rattling from the 3-cylinder engine, which sounds pretty similar to a 4-cylinder. A little bit different, but sounds pretty similar. The funny thing is funny though is you do get some blow off from this engine, which I don't know, I think that's pretty cool. Sounds good. But now that this Prius has gone extremely fast and is way far ahead of us, let's get our acceleration. That's 60. So let's talk about the acceleration here with this 1.5 liter 3-cylinder. So here's the thing is, it's not fast, but for the segment that this is in, it keeps up. Like most SUVs that are in this segment that are this size are about this power, and then you go to the 2-liter that you can get in the Bronco, and that thing is pretty much quicker than most of the other vehicles in this segment, because all these small SUVs just don't really have massive power outputs. But yeah, I mean, getting up on the highway, it gets up and goes, and the ride quality though on the highway is really good. It's very smooth, and nothing really upsets it. So from a ride quality perspective on the highway, it does a good job. Just a little bit slower on the power side, but again, if you want more power, there's this thing called the 2-liter that they offer with this. Just get the 2-liter and that'll be sufficient from a power perspective. And yeah, this is, I really like this. And also the ski box survived, it didn't fly off. And I don't think it affected the aerodynamics of this cheese block too much. It seemed like it did a pretty good job. But let's try to sneak in here. Yeah, turning's really good. The steering on this Bronco still feels great. I love the steering on the Bronco. It's a small SUV, so it's really direct, but it just kind of, you get like a decent amount of steering feel for this, especially for an SUV. It kind of, it's actually almost like exciting in a sense. Like I drive sports cars that have less steering feel than this. It's pretty interesting. So like, this is almost like the enthusiast SUV, like a really, like, if you're like on a budget and you have to have an SUV to go off-roading, carry people around and all that kind of stuff, then the Bronco, but like you want to have an SUV that's fun to drive, this Bronco Sport kind of does that. It really, like, I would almost call this like the enthusiast's SUV. It's really fun to drive. Obviously, it doesn't have crazy amounts of power or anything like that, but it's still fun to drive, and that'll get me into summing things up with this Bronco Sport. So I think this is a really good package. I think this SUV has gotten a lot of bad press because it has the Bronco name. But if you take away the name, this is an excellent SUV, especially for 30 grand. You get an SUV that looks so beautiful, practical, drives nice. You can take it off-road. It's fun to drive on-road, and it's decent, you know, with the get up and go. But again, if you want more power, just get the 2-liter, and that thing is a little rocket ship. So as an overall package, I think that this is the best SUV of 2021 so far, because not only is it affordable, but it's fun. That is going to sum things up for a video on this 2021 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Ed Kenley Ford for giving me some time with this Bronco Sport. Check out the information on the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.